So, my trip to Medina was not an ordinary one. It gave me a deep understanding of what it means to be human. When I departed Toronto, initially I felt disinterested, like it was just some random field trip that I was going to have fun and just come back and be like myself. However, I was completely wrong. The experience has taught me that many things that I would have never learned anywhere else, and I am glad that I came on this trip. When I arrived at the town of Waterport, the first thing I noticed was that many of the buildings within the city were not like mansions or fancy buildings. They were built with simplicity and not very physically appealing. This is pretty much the setting of how this trip went. After lunch, we would head towards the World Rehabilitation Center for Orphans. When we arrived, I must say the first detail that caught my eye was the geographical location of the center. I noticed that the center was not located in any major city, but was in fact in the countryside, among trees, cornfields, and farms, which really surprised me. I did not expect that such an important building would be located this far from the city. When I entered the center, I noticed something very peculiar. Despite the cloudy day, I saw what appeared to be a stream of sunlight shining through one of the windows the moment I entered this building. And then I realized this building was a special one. I entered the center, and the first feature that caught my eye was that the room was circular. My interpretation for why I believe Project Life had decided to build this kind of building with the circular structure is that basically it is showing that showing the world that their organization operates worldwide. For us to sit in a circular room makes us feel connected with the people in the organization, because it is telling us that we are part of this organization as well, that we are together as one. It really makes us feel connected to the Project Life, that we are together. The people of Project Life in particular have earned my great attention and respect for them. These people are working very hard with very little money and are doing a very remarkable task. And yet, most importantly, they do it with happiness. I cannot get over this. The people working at Project Life are very joyful and optimistic even though they have little money. I remember I privately talked with one of the directors, Christopher Wilson, and I asked him, have you ever felt any frustration when you were dealing with this task? He said, no, I am very happy at what I do. Man, I never met many people who have been so optimistic and yet would undertake very difficult tasks. I have just the utmost respect, and they have officially become my new role models in life. Next, went downstairs to listen to the presentation given by Project Life, and this was my most memorable moment. When the presentation began, images of children devastated by the war-torn countries stood there, and then a strong, deep feeling had overcame me when I saw this. It was guilt. I looked at myself. I was wearing all these nice clothing, I had nice sneakers, nice shoes, and I looked at a picture. These kids had no shoes, and they were wearing barely any clothing to cover themselves. I felt a deep sense of regret and anger in myself because I was blind. I was so blind to this issue, and I was so ignorant. I felt shame and pain in my heart as to what has happened in this world, and I did not know how to react to it. There was one image in which they showed a battered child, how very unhappy she looked. When I looked at that image, it appeared that he was looking right into my eyes saying, where were you when we were being bombed? Where were you when we lost everything? I realized this was reality. This was what had been occurring in the world, and I've been turning a blind eye towards it. One aspect of humanity that I feel many people have overlooked is to help others. Such a deep sense of guilt has never overcome me before at this moment, and that guilt turned into determination for me. I realized what had to be done. These children are less fortunate than we are, and they deserve a second chance to have a new life. I realized I was too caught up in my materialistic society of money and wealth that I forget the one thing important that exists within us: humanity and compassion. After the presentation, we would go and visit Dr. Durakovic. When he first entered, I must admit, I was extremely intimidated and afraid because one of the most important people in the world was about to come in. When he entered the room and sat down, I was very tense. However, when Jack, Jonathan, and James began to talk to him, he spoke with great respect and dignity to us. He spoke and gave us knowledge that has been incredibly influential to us. When he said every second in his life is a favorite of his, I was immediately impressed with him. It was just really great for this man to say that every second is present. I barely even say any second is happy for me. I really wanted to talk to him at that point. I really wanted to gain that wisdom and knowledge with him. However, I did not know what to say. This man possessed a very great knowledge, and I was simply stunned by his replies to questions being brought towards him. However, I desperately wanted to talk to him. I wanted to hear his knowledge, so I asked him a question about nuclear physics. So, just by him talking to me has basically gave me great enlightenment. Dr. Durakovic is a great man, and I am glad I have met him. A man who has great knowledge and has potential for power, but chooses to live a life of chastity and humility. That is one special individual. After that, as we headed back to Toronto, I must say, my life has changed forever. I no longer saw school, money, and wealth as the most important thing that must be in my life, but to help others and be human is what I must be. I was determined to make a difference in the lives of these children because they are more important than all of my current issues that I face at school, at home, anywhere. I truly wish everybody could share this vision with me of putting priority to help others instead of themselves. From this trip, I can seriously say that my visit to the rehabilitation has seriously opened my eyes to the true reality of this world. It has really sent me a message that there are children out there who need our help. I have a purpose in life and something to live for. The trip has given me a goal in life, and that is to help others. People need our support. What I can learn overall, to summarize, is this trip has given me the determination and the motivation drive to do what needs to be done. Thank you.